Okay, we'll continue with the Kung Fu Panda character search code along, and we'll add the HTML interaction part to it. So we've got this button here. Well, let's look at that. I'm going to close this for a second, and the button should have an ID. So here's the button. Oh, I see. So this button actually has a class. Now hold on, let's make this a little cleaner. I'm going to tab that over and end the paragraph there. Okay, so it's easier for JavaScript to select elements by ID. So I'm going to change this class because I think the class search, I'm not using it anywhere else. It's just used to style this button. So I could use ID here. Now, of course, I'm going to, oh, I've still got all the prompts. Okay. I need to get rid of those because that's annoying. All right. So I'm just going to comment this out for a second. And yeah, well, whatever, we'll leave that. Okay. Now notice the styling was got just taken away there, so we've just got to go to that search. Instead of doing the class selector, we can replace that with the ID selector. And that should be fine. Oh, and it's still doing this because name is not defined now. Okay, we really got to fix that. Okay, so the best way to fix that is let's add an event listener to this button. Okay, so script.js, I'm going to make a little comment here, add event listener to the button. So document.get element by ID, and what did I even call it? Search. And then I actually like search BTN, that's more descriptive. ID search BTN, and of course I have to change it here too now. Search BTN like that. Okay. And then I want to go, let's make this smaller so I've got more coding space. Dot add event listener. I'm going to listen for a click event, and then I'll just do, maybe I'll call my function character search, like that. Okay, and then we'll have our event function, which we decided to call character search, and we define that function. And now let's put this code inside of that function, hit my auto format so it tabs for me. And now at least when I run this, it won't do those pop-ups right away until I do this. Then it'll run that code. Okay, good stuff. Now, next step here, we still want to get input, and I still want to store it in a variable, but I don't want to use prompt. I want to get the input value of this input element. So this input element needs an ID. Where is it? Okay, it's right here. Actually, let's do this. And we need an ID, and this will be name input, we'll call it. Okay, go to script.js, and we'll go to this and say document.get element by ID name input dot value. All right, so that finds the input element, gets its value, stores it in name. Okay, and let's test it from here because we've got these alerts here. This should still work, that I can type in Po, and I hit search, and it says yes, Po is a Kung Fu character because this evaluated to true. Okay, awesome. And then the goodbye. We'll try one more. Let's try Viper maybe. Great. And if I do gobbledygook, that is not, so it goes to the else, right? It doesn't match any of the ones that I have there. Okay, awesome. So the input's working, our if statement is still working. The only thing I want to change now is instead of just alerting the message, we're going to update the screen, the page, to show that stuff. So we're going to need IDs on this image, we're going to need IDs on this heading, we're going to need IDs on this paragraph so we can update those contents. Okay, so here's the image. We'll give that an ID attribute, and we'll just call this CH for character, or char maybe, char image. Oh, here's the heading. We'll give that an ID char heading, or char character name maybe. And then this is class quote. Why don't we change that to an ID? Because again, we're not using, classes are like good for if you're using selecting multiple elements, but we can change this to a character quote. And again, we'll have to change this to the style ID character quote, like that. Okay, so char image, character name, character quote. All right. So in here, instead of doing, so let's say it's Poe. Actually, that's a really bad one because that's what it starts with. Let's say if it's Viper, we'll do Viper first. We'll get rid of the alert. And now what I'll do is go documents.get element by ID, character image. And we've learned that we can select the source attribute and assign it to be something else, which will be images slash, and I think it's just simply called, what is this, Viper? Lowercase viper.png. Viper.png. Okay, so that should change the source attribute of that element. Document.get element by ID, and we'll do character name. And here we'll change the inner HTML to be Viper. Okay, cool. And then last but not least, not animations, element by ID, and we'll do character quote. And again, that's just the inner HTML of the paragraph. And I have a little text document here with the quotes. So this is Viper, I don't need to bite to fight. Awesome. Copy and go back to here. In quotations, we'll paste that. Okay, so that will update the page, the image, the name, and the quote for Viper. Cross your fingers, hopefully that works. Viper, and search, and it said goodbye. And okay, so it did update it. Okay, I guess that alert, I guess there's a delay in the page updating. So the image changed, the name changed, and the quote changed. Awesome. Okay, we can get rid of this goodbye quote now too. Let's do these other ones too. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of this. All right, and all I need to change now is for Poe, there's a Poe.png. This will be Poe like that. And his quote is, I think it's the original one that we had there, the buddy, I am the Dragon Warrior. I think he said that to Tai Lung. Okay, script.js, and we can replace that. Okay, run. So now, right, if I go to, it starts off with Poe, but if I go to Viper, it'll switch. If I go back to Poe, it'll switch back. Okay, cool. What else do we need here? Oh yeah, we just got to keep going. So copy and paste for Mantis. Image is mantis.png, name Mantis, and what's the quote? Fear the bug. Awesome. Okay, and the else here, we're going to do that too. So I'm going to copy and paste that. And for the else, what I have is a question mark. So I can do question-mark.png. And here I'll just do like dashes or something like that and just say, for the quote part, maybe I'll just say character not found. Okay, let's test that. So we'll check out Mantis. Hit search and it switches. Great. We'll do gobbledygook and it does that question mark, character not found. Go back to Poe. Cool. Okay, so what you should notice here is that the logic didn't change. It's still a chained selection statement that says if this is true, do this, else if this is true, do this, else if this is true, do this, else do this. Right? It's going to choose one of these paths. The only thing that we changed was making it look a little nicer, that we have the event listener, the input element, and it updates the page to display the contents, the character that we searched for. Okay, so like I said, a good idea would be for you to add some more else ifs into here so that if the name equals crane, you can update to show Crane's picture and quote, and get that working. Okay, we're gonna make a couple improvements yet in the next video, but for now that's good, and we'll say take care and see you in the next video.